Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. Almost forgot my name there. My name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings and the Bias Plus reports. And this is Ben and Barry on football.
Hello out there. My name is Ben Dickerson. I'm your co-host on Ben and Barry on football. Enjoying the off season as best we can.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
The team, the New York Giants, who I hope do a lot better next year, but I guess there's fans of 31 other teams or 30 other teams out there thinking the same thing. So let's see what we got to talk about today here, Ben.
Well, first of all, as I said to you before, as I look behind you and see that beautiful array of bottles you have back there, it's, I want to pause the show and just run upstairs, and I'm sure I have something in the cabinet. I don't know if I have anything to match what you got over there. Whatever it is, it's probably old because it's been up there for I don't know how long. I still got bottles from when we got married.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I need to come over and help you drink those.
No, that might be true. They're aged at the very least.
Absolutely.
That much you know. Okay. Well, Benny, we are in the off season now? There are
unfortunately
no scheduled games. Nothing to look forward to for tomorrow, Thursday. And we were getting kind of spoiled because we were getting games on Wednesdays and Tuesdays.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. As bad as COVID is, it kind of forced us into football heaven there. We darn near had a pro game every night of the week.
Oh man, football all the time, and so many matchups to look forward to, or it's just weird things going on, Who was it? Was it the Broncos that had to play with like no starters? The guy that they started was like a wide receiver or something like that.
Oh, that was crazy. He was a practice squad wide receiver, I believe, that played quarterback in high school and a little bit in college. But that's what it came down to. And that was a whole nother big controversy, if you remember, because some teams were very upset. Some organizations were very upset that they made them play that game, but postponed other games.
Yeah, there was a few uneven decisions, but overall, they finished all of their games. I know, for example, I think Pittsburgh was one of those teams whose schedule got real wacky because of other people's COVID issues and things like that. And so that was part of their complaint. But they played all of their games all the way through to the Super Bowl. They had a significantly lower infection rate amongst their players than the general population. To me, which showed that before the vaccine and before, a lot of the treatments could even be considered, they were keeping people safe through testing and then quarantine, and then if you are infected, isolation, and then they had the technology where everybody wore the wristband so you could actually know who was around the infected person, and then they would go out and they would work with those people.
Contact
tracing. Those things get thrown out in general society, but right now I don't think that there's a lot of good contact tracing going on. I don't think people like to be traced, number one.
No, not at all.
It's like ring, ring, ring. Yeah. Is this Joy? Is this Joe or whatever? And be like,
nobody's signing up for that.
And there's so much spam on the telephone and all that stuff anyway. You don't want to answer anything because you don't know who these people are calling. There's an article recently, they were saying like these auto maintenance plan companies, that, like, you know, you buy for a few $100s, a couple $100s a month, you buy this plan, and then whatever happens to your car, they'll fix it. You know, you take it to the guy, and they'll fix it for, you know, that there are more spam calls from these companies than like any other industry. Like, it's flooding people with calls and stuff like that. So a lot of crazy stuff like that going on. But the NFL finished their season. They got through to the Super Bowl. Congratulations again to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady, and all of that group. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the things in the postseason, let's call it. Some of the things that come up, a lot of operations. So we're going to have dates that are going to start to kick in. Dates with free agency, dates to contracts. You have to do this by this date, or you're going to have to pay this guy this much money. So all of the decisions that people are kind of, you know, kicking down the road, kicking the can down the road a little bit, you get to a point, and now, boom, if you don't make a decision, for example, I believe Wentz for the Philadelphia Eagles has a bump of money that if he's still on the roster, it's somewhere in the 10 to 20 million. Do you know what that number is?
I don't know exactly what the number is, but it's a significant number. It's a significant number, and it is significant enough that I'm sure the Eagles will want to pull the trigger on some type of a trade before that day comes. From what I understand, I don't know exactly what the date is, but from what I understand, they do have some time. Okay. And I think the reason that the deal hasn't been done yet is because these other teams, interested or not, know that they actually do have some time. So they're going to hold their feet to the fire a little bit now that they've kind of come out and publicly stated that they're willing to let Zach Ertz go also, to the point where they're talking about they might even release him if they can't trade him. Kind of builds a ready-made package, so to speak. So now anybody who was thinking about doing a deal for Wentz can now think about doing a deal for a package of Wentz and Ertz if they wish. If they don't want to, they don't have to, but that's just something else that the Eagles are serving up out there. So it's going to happen. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. I think it needs to happen for that organization to be able to move forward. And I'm not saying Jalen Hurts is the greatest quarterback since, you know, whatever, but I think he's an upgrade leadership-wise for the team itself, at least for the offense. It was pretty obvious that when he came into games, the offense picked up. The flow of the game kind of picked up. The players seemed to be a little bit more energized when he was in the game as opposed to when Wentz was in the game. So I say I don't think there's a danger in letting Wentz go. I don't think that's a bad idea. I think it's actually a good idea. And for that reason, I believe that it will happen.
You know, I was looking at information on Wentz's contract, and I'm just thinking to myself that he had a 4-year, $128 million contract extension in 2019. It kicks in for the 2021 season, including a $70 million guarantee. And I'm wondering if I'd probably be really hard to deal with if I already had 70 million.
Thought. I mean, well, tell me,
I might be
about that?
I might be a little Wentz-like in my attitude. I don't want to play here, but we got a new coach. So,
let's remember.
That's the funny thing, they got a new coach.
Let's remember now, some of this stuff about his feelings toward this whole thing is a little bit speculative because he hasn't really said very much verbally, like out of his mouth. You know what I mean? There's been hearsay, there's been sources, so-and-so that's close to him has said blah, 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 those kind of things. But I think enough players and maybe even Doug Peterson kind of let on a little bit. The idea that he's a little hard to work with, a little bit hard to work with, a little bit abrasive, a little aloof. Okay, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. If you're winning, you live with it. When you're not winning, it's not a good thing. So,
Did you hear that he was changing plays?
oh, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we've heard that from several sources on the coaching staff. So, even the commentators were saying nobody says kill, kill, kill more than Wentz.
Really?
And kill means kill the play. Now, sometimes what happens is they'll come in to the huddle with 2 plays. Okay. So they'll call play 1, they'll call play 2. And basically what it is, if they come to the line and they don't want to run play 1, then they'll say kill, and everybody knows we automatically go to play 2. So it can be used as an option, or it can be used as a true quarterback, I see something audible type thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, he was definitely changing plays, no doubt about it.
Thing about Madden is you get 4 audibles with each formation, and then you get certain numbers of formations that are associated with each originating formation, and it gives you a multiple of different audibles that you can go to. And you wonder how much of that they can incorporate into the NFL, because I mean, let's face it, spacing and things of that nature, you don't know until you walk up to the line of scrimmage. The opportunities might be right there. You need one, the play's going wide, and all of a sudden they're playing wide 9, and there's nobody. I think I had told you there was one play. I think it was Aaron Rodgers. And I was looking at the play from like behind his helmet, like looking down. So I kind of had the same view he had, but maybe from a little higher. And they must have been playing wide 9 because there's like nobody in front of him. He had a center, he had a guard, and I'm like, and it was like yards from the end zone. And I'm like, why not? You know what I mean? Even if you don't have to be fast at all. You got 2 blockers and you're only 7 yards from the end zone, and there's nobody there.
Well, if you really look really hard at games, you'll see situations like, maybe not that bad, but you'll see situations where it looks like the D-line is overloaded to one side, or it'll look like, hey, I got 3 offensive linemen over here and there's only 2 defensive linemen. Or it would look like, boy, if they double team him, there'd be a gigantic hole because there's nobody in front of the center. He can shoot out and get the linebacker. But sometimes the defense will show you things. And then they'll have people shooting gaps. They'll have people stunning, things of that nature to fill those holes. So they like to show you something and then take it away from you. So you can't always just say, oh, look at that, I'm going there, because.
Well, if you got 3 people on that side and they got 1, you got at least a man up advantage. And that's all I'm talking about. Long story short, though, that's part of that game, what you're talking about, with the defense coming out, not showing what they're going to do. And then you have the offense doing things designed to expose that defense.
Yes.
So now you got a guy that runs over here and say, are you going to be zone? You're going to be man. Okay, well, if you do this, you're zone. If that guy chases him all the way across, we know you're man. And so you can play those games. And that's part of, what I like about the game, watching it on TV, watching it in virtual space, because that's people's mind click. And I think the difference in Madden is that in the NFL, the coach's mic or the coach's speaker goes off with 15 seconds left on the play clock. And Madden, you're always there. You're a part of the snap. You're part of every part of it. So it's a little bit different. So I think it's a good thing to have a quarterback that can go up to the line of scrimmage, with a is this play going to work? Or how can we make this play work first and foremost based on what they're showing us, because even in any one play, if it's a pass play, you might have 3 to 4 options, maybe even 5 options of who to throw it to. So where your leverage is, where your matchup is, all of that kind of stuff, that's all right there as you walk up to the line of scrimmage. That was one of the things we liked about what the Cardinals were doing with the air raid offense, because so much was in the air raid is put on the quarterback when he walks up to the line of scrimmage to begin making the changes and the routes and the things of that nature, depending on, remember what we said? Where's the green grass?
Green grass, right. You got to go to the green grass.
You go into the green grass,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I mean, everybody does it. Every team has that built into their offense. The difference is if the quarterback makes an educated decision according to what he sees across from him, as opposed to a quarterback who doesn't necessarily get the call and then tell the player something else in the huddle, but actually makes the call, comes to the line, and then changes it, which is, see, I don't know, but that sounds to me like he's trying to like sneaky do it on the low.
You talking about you back to Wentz now?
Back to Wentz, yeah. Because everybody does that. Everybody has kill or Omaha or Sunday or something to let the offense know, hey, we're changing the play. Hey, we're going with the second play, or hey, we're changing the play. Listen to what I say. I'll give you a hand signal. I'll do something. You know what I mean? So
Sunday. That's a new one on me.
Sunday. Yeah. Who uses Sunday? A couple guys, at least 2.
Really?
I think Aaron Rodgers uses it, and somebody else. I can't.
Okay.
Some guys go alert. Alert. That means listen. Spider 2Y banana. Blah blah blah. But there's a difference between doing that strategically and doing that because you just don't like the play call. So you're going to pretend that you called the play. Well, you called the play, you come to the line, and you're going to pretend like you saw something that made you think that play wouldn't work. I'm going to call something else.
Well, he still should have the coach in his ear up to 15 seconds. I'm wondering if he's strategic enough to be like, okay, coach, no problem. Yes. 15 seconds goes by, thing goes by. He's like, okay, we're going to run this, guys.
Yeah, but if he does that in the huddle, then why does he kill the play at the line so much?
Good question.
He could just run what he wants. Right? That's what I'm saying. That's my point. He is calling the play that they're giving him. And then he's going to the line and saying, oh, I gave him the play, coach. I did what I was supposed to do, but I don't like it because 59 is the mic, and I think he's going to drop, and the strong safety is coming downhill.
That probably times up with what I'm talking about. By that time, the 15 seconds is up. By the time he's at the line of scrimmage going kill, he's on his own, right?
Yes, but you got to remember, for them to bring this up means that they went back to film study and said, on this play, this is the play we call. You killed it and went to a run when we called a pass, and this is the defense that they were in, and our play would have worked, but you killed it and changed it. Let's look at another one. Oh, you killed this play too. We called this. This is what you changed it to. This is the defense they ran. Our play would have worked. Oh, how about week 6 when you killed? You get where I'm going? Yeah.
All right. So
changing plays unnecessarily just because he don't like it, or just because he's trying to be the smartest guy.
This would seem to have been a bigger issue. This to me was something that there were whispers about, but not a bunch of.
Yeah, because that's mutiny, bro. You don't want to throw that out there like that. You don't want to expose that if you can help it. You try to keep it in house and you try to fix it, but it wasn't fixable. I think that's part of the reason why the guy got benched. That, and then you start to hear stuff.
Okay.
He's sabotaged his own self.
So then Hurts goes out, actually runs the play, and it works, right?
There you go.
It's like, oh, look, he actually was open against that defense if he ran the play, But like I said, even if you don't necessarily, like if you come in and you say, okay, this is the play. Like I said, you normally have at least 2 to 3, we'll say 2 to 4 receiving options on the pass play. So even if you come out and you say, oh, I don't think that my primary is going to work against this defense. What that means maybe is that, looks like they're going to double my tight end. He's playing a little inside, but now I got a guy singled up out here and I got a guy singled up out here. So I can run the same play.
Still run the play, right. But rather than think about his options and think about, okay, the primary might not be there, so I know I got to go through my progressions. Instead of him doing that, he changes the play to a more sure thing to him, okay? Especially if he changed from a pass play to a run play.
Now, on this much, I might say, there's probably a lot of times when I thought the Eagles should have been running the ball when they were in some passing formation.
Yeah, well, it's because Doug Peterson loves to throw the ball.
There you go. Carson Wentz might have actually had a point in that situation. Like, dude, we need a yard. I don't need 5 wide with floating. I got Corey Clement here. Let's just bash this thing and get this yard. But he just played so poorly on an individual basis, and that weakens any argument that he might have. Okay, let's go to one of the first things that we want to talk about here, and we've actually had a great time in the beginning, but we had not mentioned that we're going to be on WJRL 95.3.com radio at WJRLradio.com. So we wanted to mention that. Benny, Mike Tannenbaum was on television, and I was looking for something else that he said. Oh, I know what it was. He made a point. Now, what you're looking at here are a list of linebackers that are going to be free agents. He's saying it's one of the strongest, deepest positions in free agency. But he said something else, and I'm gonna let everybody take a look at this list. But I want to mention that he thought that there should be no coaches hired until after the Super Bowl. Like, it should be a league rule. And like you get to like some point after the Super Bowl, like 3:00 or whatever, then it opens up and then it's available. I don't know if that would level the playing field, or if that would overcome the bias that is creating the problem relative to, the lack of black coaches and GMs and things of that nature. But it's one of those thoughts that at the very least you can, maybe for everybody, it might just make good sense that, okay, look, let's get the big game out the way. All those coaches that are part of the 2 top teams, then their focus, you don't have to worry about taking away from their focus. And so now you can go ahead and start hiring your coaches and things of that nature. What do you think about that?
Well, here's my first question would be, when he says wait until the Super Bowl before they're hired, you got to understand, I can understand if you're looking at the coaching staffs of the 2 teams that are playing in the Super Bowl. But for teams that have already been eliminated from the playoffs, from playoff contention, or got beat in the playoffs, who have position coaches or coordinators that teams would be interested in, there has to be the interview process and all that. So is he saying you can't even begin the interview process until after the Super Bowl?
If I said hired, I may have been wrong. It could have been interviewed also. But it was about moving the process to a point after the Super Bowl where then everybody would be included in the pot, in interview, hire, or whatever. And and just push it to that point, and then it'd be everybody, including the 2 top teams. So that was what his thought was. And I thought, okay, it's an interesting way to look at it. I kind of like it, you know, because you know you got people getting hired, and you have a lot of coordinators and stuff that were on, let's say, Tampa Bay and on the Kansas City Chiefs.
What his idea will do will take away one of the excuses that some of these owners are using for not hiring some of these guys. Okay.
That's what I was saying. I don't know if it's going to overcome the bias.
Yeah, if you, well, it may not overcome the bias, but it'll at least take away an excuse. The bottom line is these owners own the team. They're going to hire whoever they want. Okay. If they want to go get Pee Wee Herman to be their head coach, they're going to do it. And they don't care what the media says. They really don't even care what the fans say. They really don't, because the fans are fans of the team, you know, and the fans are always going to wish their team well. And they're going to hope like heck, you know, that this is the right guy for their team. And they're going to go out there and they're going to watch them play. And they're going to cheer for them and hope that they win. If you don't allow teams to even begin the interview process until after the Super Bowl is over, that takes away the excuse of, well, we thought about bringing him in for an interview, but his team was still playing. So we brought in this other guy and he really aced the interview. He was really good. And we just decided, you know what? That's our guy. We're going to take him. So you take that out of the equation. That's one thing you take out of the equation. And to me, that's a good thing. I don't know if it's going to change anything. I don't know if more black coaches are going to get, more minority coaches are going to get hired. I don't know. Probably not.
So on a bureaucratic basis, we actually agree.
Yes, for that reason, I would say yes, absolutely. That's a good idea. Because
we
if
also
nothing else,
agree that we don't know that it's going to overcome the challenge of having black coaches and black GMs.
We'll never know that. We'll never know that.
But I will say this much, and this is where I think we kind of disagree, because you're saying they're going to do what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
To a degree, that is correct to this point in time. But what I believe is starting to happen is that organizationally, they're making certain statements about diversity and all of that kind of stuff as an organization, and as them being at the top of that organization. And now people are starting to look at them and say, but wait a minute, you're not practicing what you're preaching here. And that's where the question is going to become whether they really care or not, because that's when you start getting sponsorship hits and protests and that focus, that light gets shined on it. Now, let's face it, you know, there's a whole very conservative faction of the country that is also football fans. And, you know, so diversity ain't say, they don't really care. So they have a certain amount of support. But, you know, a lot of the support that they would be getting from those groups that they claim that they're supporting, all of the inspired change programs and stuff that they're talking about, all of the foundations that these players, the 70% black players, you know, are out there in the community talking about. And, you know, right there on ESPN, you know, they're sitting there, they're throwing it out. Hey, you know, you guys have a problem at the owner level, you know, so that's kind of where that's at. Okay, back to the outside linebackers. This is a nice list. I want to run it down real quick for the people who are just listening in. These are free agent outside linebackers. So you got Von Miller, Matt Judon, Melvin Ingram. Now let me mention, because in case you don't.
Can we, as you go down your list, can you get the teams too?
Yeah, I was getting ready to start the list over, as a matter of fact, and include the teams. Because you want to make sure that we want
to make sure everybody knows.
It's funny. We were talking about Von Miller last week and we couldn't remember his name.
Remember his name. I know. I was so embarrassed. And I hope people realize that's who I was talking about. I was so embarrassed. And that was a really important point that I was trying to make too. Von Miller was killing that dude Remmer. When the Broncos destroyed the Panthers,
But
and
Cam,
Shaq Barrett was like a young boy on that team, and he remembered that game. And he remembered that he went back and looked at the film, watched some of the moves that Miller made on him, and then came out and used them against Remmer in this past Super Bowl. Tremendous.
So if Remmer didn't improve his technique to be able to handle those new moves since when was that Super Bowl?
Well, he probably said his prayers every night and hoped never to meet Von Miller again.
Von Miller again, right? Exactly. So you got Von Miller from the Denver Broncos. We have Matt Judon from the Baltimore Ravens. Okay. Melvin Ingram, Los Angeles Chargers. Bud Dupree, Pittsburgh Steelers. Shaquille Barrett and Levante David, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's 2. And let me tell you, these guys are rated pretty high on the game too. KJ
should be.
Seattle Seahawks. Olivier Vernon, Cleveland Browns. Hassan Reddick, Arizona Cardinals. And Devondre Campbell, also the Arizona Cardinals. All free agent linebackers. And man, who wouldn't want to have a couple of those guys from Tampa Bay?
I'll say right off the bat, chances of them moving is going to be slim to none if Bruce Arians has anything to do with it. They're going to do their darndest to keep both of those guys. And let's also remember when we say outside linebacker, outside linebackers are probably the most versatile type linebacker you're going to get. These are guys that are either masterful at pass rush and or can pass rush and play the run and cover. Some are a little better at other things. Like Von Miller is pretty much a pass rusher. Shaq Barrett's basically a pass rusher. Levante David covers, plays the run. He does it all. KJ Wright, I would venture to guess KJ Wright might be the oldest guy on this list. I hate when I say stuff like that because people might fact check me, but I think KJ Wright's been around for a while. He's getting a little long in the tooth, but obviously he can still play. Hassan Reddick and Devontae Campbell are young guys for the Cardinals. I would think that they will try to keep them. Hassan Reddick is a Temple product, by the way.
Awesome. And you skipped Olivier Vernon, or did you mention him and I missed it?
He's getting up there too a little bit. Who is he with now? Is he with Miami?
Browns.
The Browns. Oh, I believe didn't they just get him? They just got him.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not going to try to let him go. They must have just signed him to a 1 or 2 year deal. I believe they're going to try to hold on to him. So yeah, I don't think Miller's going anywhere. I don't think Melvin Ingram is going anywhere. Bud Dupree, ooh boy, he held down the fort for Pittsburgh when they started having some injuries on defense. This is going to be tough. This is really tough to call.
One of the things about this,
all these guys are still really good players,
is that some of these decisions are going to be based on some other decisions because we still have the constraints of the cap.
Yes.
So, for example, the Buccaneers have about 20.6 million available cap space. Now, depending on who else they're trying to sign, then it's going to start to pressure, how much they're going to be able to keep some of these guys. Like Von Miller, do you think Von Miller, the Broncos have 31.7 million of cap space available. So I'm assuming that they can pay him, but they're talking about a new quarterback too. They might be in the market.
I'll tell you, The first thing I would think is some of the older guys are the guys that are in most danger of being moved. That would include Von Miller. He's still got a name, he's still got game, and he makes a lot of money. So yeah, you need cap space to sign some younger players. You need cap space to make a big splash in free agency, or draft a quarterback high or something like that. Guy like Von Miller can still bring you a nice ransom. Guy like KJ Wright can probably bring you a nice ransom. Yeah, those guys might be in danger of going. The Buccaneers thing is interesting. I was thinking about them the other day in reference to who they can keep, who they got to let go, and all that. And I got a funny feeling. I'm going to make a little prediction here. I might be right. I might be wrong. I think Chris Godwin might be headed out of town. I'm not quite sure. Mike Evans kind of sealed his fate by saying, "Hey, look, I'll take a cut and pay."
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
He said, "I'll take cut and pay to keep this team."
That winning got good to him.
Yeah. But
let me mention real quick, and then we'll go back to the Buccaneers. Von Miller, 2021, age 32, base salary $17.5. Cap number 22,125,000. He's 11.2% of the cap by himself.
Yeah, he might have to go. I mean, let's face it. Denver's got to get younger. They got to get younger. They've already started. They've already begun the youth movement. Look at their receiving core. Look at their running backs. They're already moving in that direction. So,
and GM, didn't he change? Did he take a step away? Their GM, the quarterback.
Oh, John Elway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he bumped himself up to another position, and they either hired or are going to hire another GM. Yes.
Okay. So there'll be some changes going on there. So, okay. There's going to be a lot of the horse trading and a lot of the movement. So this is just a nice list that we thought, especially when you're talking about defense, which wins championships. That outside, I'm glad not to see my linebackers on that list for the Niners.
Yeah, well, that doesn't mean none of them are coming up on free agency.
Hush. All right. Again, Ben and Barry on football, WJRL 95.3, online at WJRLradio.com. Ben, we usually save this to last, but we're here. Let's just talk about it. Right now, Levi Stadium is, according to this show, and I think this was Sports Center, the largest vaccination site in the state of California. So I want to give my squad a hand.
That's cool.
For being a part of that, that initiative and getting those people. I mean, California has, it's amazing how places that are some of the nicest, most beautiful, most scenic places have some of the biggest natural disasters. You go to Hawaii and it's like, oh, this is wonderful. There goes the volcano. It's like, run. I mean, let's face it, you get around the Gulf, it's beautiful, right? And then you get a couple temperature changes, differential between the water and the wind. And man, the hurricanes rolling on you. You get to Philadelphia, we get 8 inches of snow. We're like, no, it's terrible. But that's pretty much it for the most part in terms of natural disasters.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
and this ain't one of the most beautiful places to look at. So
that's what I mean.
Your theory is correct.
I guess we get compensated by the lack of natural disasters.
Right.
So if we can cut down on the murder rate, we'd be a beautiful place to be.
Oh,
telling you.
Yeah, well, we don't even want to get into that.
I'm telling you. Okay, vaccinations. We're so happy that the Niners have, and again, they talked about that here in Philly. If anyone out there knows what's going on, go to Ben and Barry on Football on Facebook. Go to our YouTube at benandbarryonfootball.com. Leave us a note. Let us know kind of what's going on in Philadelphia. And was it the stadium here in Philadelphia being used as a vaccination site? You know, I thought I heard something about them saying it was too hard for people to get to. And that didn't make I know it didn't make sense to me. So I may be completely wrong about that. But if you're talking about grandma that can't get out the house and doesn't have a car, that might be difficult for her to get on the Broad Street subway and get to a major stadium, stuff like that. There's a lot of people who have problems, mobility problems. So look at that. You're like, what are you talking about?
The stadiums in Philadelphia are probably one of the most easiest to get. The subway goes right to the stadium complex, and they're all right next to each other. Now,
you're absolutely right. Now, but you're an urban warrior, though, Ben. Now, I'm talking about the 86-year-old grandmother with the cane.
Yeah, I get it. But you can drive to them too. The Levi Stadium is not in the middle of a city. It's not in downtown San Francisco.
I know. It didn't make sense to me either. I just don't know why. So I just thought I'd mention that. If anyone knows out there, please let us know. Okay. All right. That's enough for that right now. All right, Benny, next up, we are going to go to our Ben and Barry on Football page on Facebook. Talk about some of the things on the page. Let's start. Brian Dabble. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, you did. It is Brian Dabble, the Bills offensive coordinator.
Assistant coach of the year. And, we like the Bills. You especially were big on the Bills this year. How did you feel about their defense?
Okay. See, first of all, I was big on the Buffalo Bills from day one of this season. I am very happy that Brian Dabble has been named the AP NFL Assistant Coach of the Year. I believe it is well deserved. That is what this article is about. Why you would ask me about their defense, I have no idea. You're trying to throw me a curve, bro. Understand something.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. He's the offensive coordinator.
That is correct.
Defense on the brain. I'm sorry. That's my fault.
You got defense on the brain. You should have took a pause and said, how could he get coach of the year and coach that defense that obviously is flawed? As much as I love them, they have work to do. We talked about it last week real fast, okay? They're kind of smallish up front. I like their secondary, but they're kind of smallish up front. They don't have a real good pass rush. They could use some work at linebacker, okay? That takes care of the defense. But Brian Dabble did a great job this year and last year. He's been there since 2018. He's been working with Josh Allen. He is doing an incredible job. I believe they are one really good running back away from being a super explosive offense. Their offensive line is really good. Defensively, they've got Stephon Diggs. They've got a pretty good tight end, but they could probably draft somebody in the tight end mold this year that could help them out a little bit. But they run the ball well, but not well enough. They really need a running back. A dynamic running back will do them definitely do them justice. But that has nothing to do with the offensive coordinator. He works with what he has, and I thought he did an excellent job this year. So kudos to him.
Well, absolutely. They rank third in points for at 29.9 points per game. So they're just under 30 there on a per game basis. And that defense, however, 14th, uh, giving up 23.2 points per game. Just for reference purposes, your
Yes,
Baltimore Ravens.
so they were on the plus side.
Yes.
Okay, so they weren't terrible.
No,
But
no, they were.
they
They came in fifth in net points at plus 6.8.
right. So again, my point is, and we say it all the time, and I'll continue to say it until something changes, which I don't think it will in my lifetime. Okay, defense wins championships. The team that comes into the Super Bowl with the best defense and a good running game is going to win. And I challenge anybody out there to find more than three, and I don't think you'll find three. Find me more than three in the 55 Super Bowls that have been played where a team came in with a lesser defense and or a lacking, and I'm talking about a not a good run game, and they won the Super Bowl. I challenge anybody out there to come up with that. Three teams. Won't happen. Okay? That's why I said they're running back away. They get their run game together. They're running back away from that offense really being able to achieve even greater things than they already have. And team-wise, yes, the defense needs work.
All right, fantastic. Now, he is the assistant offensive off
No, he's the
NFL assistant coach of the year,
yeah.
right? So that's fantastic. We have a list here of award winners. I'll run them down real quick, and then we can go back and hit each one. Alex Smith, comeback player of the year. Kevin Stefanski, coach of the year. Aaron Donald, defensive player of the year. Derrick Henry, offensive player of the year. Justin Herbert, we liked him. Offensive rookie of the year. Chase Young, defensive rookie of the year. And the MVP for the season, Mr. Aaron Rodgers, AR. So those are the awards, player awards there, Benny. Let's start with, real quick, Alex Smith. Again, a former Niner, a former Kansas City Chiefs, a player who was getting an opportunity in Washington, suffered a devastating injury that almost took his life, actually came back, wound up getting pushed into service in one of the games. And it wasn't maybe that game, but it was maybe the next game after that where he actually gave a great piggyback ride to the defensive player of the year, Aaron Donald, who was riding on his back. And everybody was like, oh my goodness. People didn't even want to look because they're like, we don't know how this is going to work out. But Aaron Donald was on his back. So congrats to Alex Smith. What you got on that?
Yeah, definitely well deserved. A horrific injury that was compounded by infections and all kinds of crazy stuff going on. He had one of those halo things. You've seen people that had like broken necks and really bad head injuries. They have that halo where they have to drill into your skull. He had one of those on his leg. It was crazy. For him even to have lived through that and then gotten better and able to walk and run again, to have the cojones to go back on an NFL football field after that, I think he gets the award just for that alone, just for showing up, as far as I'm concerned. But to go out and play,
cojones. That's a good word.
I didn't want to say something else, but my goodness. Yes, that and on top of that, I just heard the other day that yes, he will be back next year to compete for the starting job. Because you know, Mr. Heineke has some fans. So he might have to fight for that job a little bit.
So Alex Smith is a total maniac then.
Absolutely.
Total maniac. Oh my goodness. All right. Coach of the year, Kevin Stefanski. And I was listening to one of the commentators talk about how he's gone different places and how their record has improved, after he got there. What do you think about Stefanski?
Well, he came in with that reputation. The reputation was well earned. Okay. And he had success. And he didn't just have success with a team that was kind of struggling. This is the Cleveland Browns we're talking about. This is a team that was a dumpster fire 3, 4, 5 years ago. Okay, this is a team where Baker Mayfield has been able to kind of redeem his career after going through different offensive coordinators and head coaches for the first 4 years of his. There was so much instability on that team. It's a wonder that he did what he did. I mean, no quarterback can flourish under that kind of mess, as far as offensive coordinators, changing systems, head coaches in, head coaches out. It's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. And then Kevin Stefanski steps in and pretty much rights the ship. Now, granted, it is the Cleveland Browns, okay? So I'm not going to say that they're going to come out and be a house on fire next year, but they might be. It could happen because they played to their potential this year. I believe they played a little bit above their potential this year, to tell you the truth. If you really look at the players skill for skill, especially defensively.
Now, Benny, wait a minute. Hold it. Hold everything. The Cleveland Browns ended up the season at minus 0.3 net points.
Yeah.
This is a team with a lot of talent. This is the team that was expected to be in the playoffs, potential contenders. They wound up with a negative net point.
Wait. When were they picked to be in the playoffs and be potential contenders?
In the preseason, people were talking about
preseason.
They had your boy OBJ ready to go. They got 2 awesome running backs. They got
whoa. I don't remember any preseason predictions other than from OBJ that said we expect the Cleveland Browns to be a playoff team and to be a title contender. I don't remember that.
You don't remember anyone thinking that the Browns were going to even make it into the playoffs?
No, I didn't say that.
Well, that's what playoff team is. A team made it into the playoffs.
Some people thought the Browns had a chance to make the playoffs. Yes. A chance. But they weren't being highly touted. Not at all. Not at all. With the Steelers and the Ravens.
I don't know.
Okay. Were the Steelers highly touted at the beginning of the season? Shouldn't take you that long to answer that question.
Well, they had Big Ben, so I'm going to say yeah.
No, don't. They had at the beginning of the season. Were the Steelers highly touted to make?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay. Were the Ravens?
Yes.
Okay. That's 2 teams in their division. How many times do you see 3 teams from the same division even make the playoffs?
So, okay.
Very seldom. So there's no way that the Browns,
them being probably the 3rd best team relative to what people are talking about, it wasn't what they weren't an obvious
So people were saying they have a chance if Kevin Stefanski can turn the ship around. If Baker Mayfield can stop saying dumb stuff with a microphone in front of his face, if the running game continues the way it looks like it's going to continue, if somebody can step up and take OBJ's place, if, yeah, they'll make the playoffs. They were not highly touted. As the season went on, we began to hear chatter about that. Yes. But not at the beginning of the season. No.
So when I looked at the different coaches who could have possibly been coach of the year, I'm looking at Miami and at New Orleans. We've talked about Miami a number of times and the great job that he's doing down there, that defense.
Brian Flores.
Yeah, Brian Flores, you know, and the other one is New Orleans. And the reason again is that New Orleans wound up and at the end of the season in fourth place in net points at 8.2. And their quarterback was out, 4 games at least. And they brought in a guy that we weren't quite sure, you know, what he could do, but they did what he could do. That's what they did. And they were able to be successful and win going down the stretch and win nicely with one of the higher net point averages at the end of the season. So I kind of thought that those were two coaches who really overcame obstacles and, you know, have really, you know, got their team clicking. Miami finishing up the season at a plus 4.1 net points. What do you think about those two coaches as opposed to Stefanski?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't pick Sean Payton over Stefanski. The Saints are a contender every year. So before the season, before Drew Brees got hurt, they were expected to do well, and they were loaded. And their defense was questionably supposed to be better, which in fact they proved that they were. So I can't give it to Sean Payton, not over Stefanski. But the one guy I could give it over Stefanski would be Brian Flores. Flores showed some flashes of improving that team last year near the end of the season. Okay. What they did this year was freaking magical, especially on the defense.
Fourth place, 21.1 points per game allowed.
I'm telling you, those young guys played some ball this season. And he played mostly man-to-man in the back, and they blitzed a lot, and they just let it all hang out. And it did pretty well. And then he had to do the dance between Fitzpatrick and Tua, which we didn't agree. I know you and I didn't agree that when he brought Tua in, it was the right time to do it. And it may have even cost them, you know, down the stretch. But doggone it, it wasn't seamless, but they kind of made it work. Them cats was winning games. It was amazing. He did a tremendous job. The Miami Dolphins were trash. They were trash. Okay? The Browns weren't trash. The Browns were like, when are they going to get it together? When are they going to get it together? They got talent. They got this. They got that. They just can't seem to get it together. And Stefanski got them together. The Dolphins were trash, and he turned them around. If anybody should have got it over Stefanski, it's Brian Flores.
Okay, we talked about him again. The Miami Dolphins challenge offensively came in 15th in points per game at 25.2, right there behind Arizona and right ahead of Atlanta. But defensively, 4th in points against, giving up just for 21.1, and 4th in turnover differential. Our friend Todd at plus 0.6, tied with Indianapolis and Tennessee.
Yeah, you know what? You know how Bruce Arians always says no risk it, no biscuit when he's talking about his offense? Brian Flores is no risk it, no biscuit on defense. Them cats came out, and before the game started, they sent a little message to the other team. Listen, we're going to blitz a lot, and we're going to play man-to-man the whole game, okay? Just want to let y'all know. And then they did it. And they won games.
And they won games. Yeah. Yeah. The Dolphins, man. All right. So we have our defensive player of the year. We just talked about riding the back of the comeback player of the year, Aaron Donald. And we have Derrick Henry, King Henry, offensive player of the year. Again, just a dominant player. And the only thing with Henry is if you can get him behind the line of scrimmage, you got a shot.
Well, I mean, you could probably really argue these two things, this defensive player and this offensive player. You probably get some fairly good arguments, but I'm not even going to try because I think what it comes down to is the eye test and statistics. Okay. And for dynamic plays that fill the eye test, check the eye test box. Don't even ask me why I tried to say that.
3 times.
And statistically, these two guys were dominant. So you kind of had to go with them. And you may be able to argue that someone else should have won these, but it'd be a tough argument. And that's all I can say about that. Derrick Henry is such a good running back that it's really, really scary. And we haven't had a running back like him in a long time, a bruiser with enough speed that it makes a difference. He's gotten some hands. He can catch the swing pass. If you get him in space, DBs start crying when they see him coming. It's crazy. He's got a signature. He doesn't have a signature move. His signature move is the stiff arm, not a spin. It's not a stutter step. It's a stiff arm. He invites you to try to tackle him and just wrecks your life and puts you on Sports Center in a way that you don't want to be. You know, Aaron Donald, if there was a rule that you couldn't double team, it'd be over. It would be over. Nobody can stop Aaron Donald one-on-one. It can't be done. There's no offensive lineman that can control Aaron Donald one-on-one throughout an entire game. It cannot be done. He's a physical specimen as a defensive tackle, so much so that they can move him out and put him on the end, and he can still beat your best left tackle if he has to. I have no problem with those two.
Neither do I. And I think the thing about Aaron Donald is that he's not like the biggest guy. He's not J.J. Watt big.
Yeah, have you seen him with his shirt off?
Oh, yeah. He
Okay.
looks like Superman.
Exactly.
×2. Yeah, I don't think Superman was built like that. But, I mean, he's not like 6'5". You know what I'm saying?
No.
So, yeah, amazing guy. Always facing double teams. And I think it was against the Patriots in a year or so ago. We were talking about how fast Brady got the ball off, and it was like 2.5 seconds. Right. And then we found out that Aaron Donald was beating double teams and getting to the quarterback in 2.5 seconds. Yeah. And we were like, whoa, this is going to be an interesting matchup here.
That's scary. That's scary. For a guy who's not that, there's more physically imposing guys. And when I say that, I'm talking about looks in a uniform.
Okay.
But for sheer strength and motor, it's hard to top him, man. It's hard to top him. Play after play, week after week. Some guys, have games here and there where they're just untouchable. I've seen JPP go off, and nobody would put him in the category of defensive player of the year. Not right now. He's good. He's real good. There's a lot of good defensive linemen out there. But, I mean.
You mentioned JPP. One of his teammates either tweeted or said, was quoted, there's like, he was so good, I thought he had all his fingers.
Yeah. It's on top of that, the guy's missing like 3 fingers on one hand. I think he's got like,
oh my goodness,
he's missing at least 2 fingers on one hand.
Oh, I'm
at
telling
least 2,
you,
possibly 3. So he can't. It's hard for him to grab. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He still gets it done. He still gets it done.
The thing about Aaron Donald even on Madden is that you drop back and you can, if you look at the line of scrimmage, literally he's knocking somebody completely out the way. And here he comes. Even in the game, it's just happening. I even tried running sweeps away from him, and he's chasing through the running back down. Even in the game, he's a monster. He is one of the 99s on the game. There's only a few players who are rated 99.
Now, what does it for me? Now, you said you like to watch that and watch him knock somebody down and knock somebody out of the way. What does it for me is when he gets double teamed and they actually do hem him up, they're still moving backwards. They're still moving backwards. I've seen him move them backwards to the point where the quarterback, maybe for whatever reason, can't find anybody, and he's going to his second and third progression, and then he peels one guy off and still gets a sack, hits the quarterback's arm, does something, and they had him dead to rights. Dead to rights.
Absolutely. All right. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Justin Herbert. Now, his ascent to, first of all, when I say ascent, his opportunity to play came at the expense of an injury to the supposed starting quarterback who was suffering from a chest injury, was getting a needle and they punctured his lung. Why his name is escaping me, I don't know.
Tyrod
Taylor, thank you. So Tyrod was the supposed starter, and we were all wondering, okay, what's this team going to look like with Tyrod? Because Tyrod's been at a few different places now. He seems to be Tyrod. We kind of know where he is, and we kind of know his ceiling. Then all of a sudden, he gets in a situation where he gets his lung punctured. Here comes this fresh-faced rookie. And when I say fresh-faced, the kid still has acne. What's the acne thing that the kids all buy, the commercials are all in place? He's a natural for that product. He could make millions representing that product.
Could.
He had long hair.
I don't think that's something he wants to endorse. It's a little bit embarrassing, but he probably could make himself quite a bit of change doing that. Yes.
Hey, look, you seen the commercial with Hulu has live sports? You seen the commercial?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
The guy's like, I don't know if I can say it. And then they open up 2 cases of money and he's like, Hulu has live sports. So they open those cases of money. But long story short, he comes out, he's so young, and all of a sudden this guy is throwing he's showing some arm talent, and everybody's going, oh, wait a minute. And then he's running around. He's a nice sized guy. What is he, 6'5" or something like that? But he's running around. He's quick. He's making decent decisions. They're scoring points. He just happens to be with a team that I don't care how many points you score, they're probably going to give up at least 3 more than that. And so he was up against that most of the year, but he kept a positive attitude. He played his heart out, and he just drew everybody's attention. And, you know, so I had no problem with Justin Herbert as offensive rookie of the year. Any other contenders for that position that you might have in mind?
Well, I'll tell you, there were quite a few really good rookie running backs this season. The kid Robinson with Jacksonville, Gaskin with the Dolphins, J.K. Dobbins, a guy that didn't really get a chance, but I think we'll see him get a chance next year is A.J. Dillon with the Packers, Cam Akers. Now, granted, J.K. Dobbins and Cam Akers, their teams held them back, okay? I think they could have made a lot more noise if they weren't in committee situations as far as running back was concerned. But talent-wise, the running back class was a lot better than I think people suspected it would be. I have to give kudos, excuse me, to the Los Angeles Chargers coaching staff and organization for picking Justin Herbert. I believe, and I'm not 100% sure, I'll have to go back and look at our video from our 2020 draft speculations, but I believe I did show some love for Justin Herbert with his size, his arm strength, and I thought that he would be chosen high. I'm not going to say I thought he would go ahead of Tua, but it turns out I think Joe Burrow went first. I think Tua was 5th overall, and I believe Herbert was 6th overall. So he went early in the first round, and he sure enough proved. I mean, this kid, obviously, they kept Tyrod Taylor with the Chargers because they wanted Herbert to sit for a year and kind of learn the system and learn the NFL and get to see what it's like to be a pro. And Tyrod Taylor, they thought, would be a great guy to do that and to help him along and mentor him. And then Tyrod Taylor gets a punctured lung getting a painkiller, and they tell the kid, suit up, you're starting. And it's a miracle. He played like a second-year player, at least. I mean, this kid was amazing. Everything that we believed that he had as far as poise, arm strength, the ability to make every throw and all that came to fruition real quick, fast, and in a hurry, man. And his leadership skills, which we knew nothing about on the pro level, proved out also. I'm telling you, everybody on his team loves him. Everybody on that offense loves him. It's a shame that him playing so well might have actually been part of the reason why the coach got fired. Because he played so well that I believe the organization believed that they should have had a better record and one more game. Better record and one more games, that's the same thing. They should have had a better record and they should have made the playoffs, okay, with the skill set that he had. That team's right on the cusp, man. They should have had a season at least like the Dolphins had. They really should have. Where do we have them ranked as far as the power rankings and defensively? Let me know how they were defensively.
Well, the Chargers were 20th.
Defensively?
And
points against?
Net points at minus 2.6.
Okay. So they're just on the minus side.
Right. Offensively, they were 18th, 24 points per game, tied with Houston, actually, at 24 points per game.
Okay, so let's understand something. It wasn't Herbert's fault that they didn't score more points. Because to me, I look at that offense, there's no reason why that can't be a 28, 29 point per game team offense. in my eyes. Okay. So I think that the organization thought it was the coach's fault that they didn't do better than they did. That's
But
just my opinion.
yes, defensively, they came in 23rd at 26.6
Yeah.
points per game.
Okay. They've got some issues on defense. Absolutely. You
Yeah,
know,
you know,
and I believe,
they
and
were
we're
tied with the your the Cleveland Browns, right? The playoff contenders as far as I was concerned, right? Tied with the Cleveland Browns. The Cincinnati Bengals were 1/10 of a point better, and the Philadelphia Eagles were literally a half a point better defensively. So that's
right,
the neighborhood that they were playing in defensively.
right, right. But you got to remember, these are our final numbers. Okay. So, but if you think about during the season, defensively, if I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken, but if I'm not mistaken, defensively, at the beginning of the season, we were expecting their defense to be improved and be pretty good. They kind of fell off. Okay. But offensively, I thought, with Tyrod Taylor, they just traded Melvin Gordon. I was expecting big things from the other running back. I can't. I'm sorry. I'm having one of my brain farts like I normally have. It'll come to me, but it doesn't matter because he got injured and was out for like a really long time. So
Right, right.
they were playing with backups at the running back position. Okay, it was tough for them, but the bottom line is we're talking about Justin Herbert, and Justin Herbert has proven himself to be a really good NFL quarterback. First year out and not expected to even play this season unless it was going to be at the end of the season when they were already out of it. And he carried them and helped them win some games. Justin Herbert is going to be a really, really good, possibly great quarterback in this league. Have the Chargers hired a coach yet?
Not sure. I don't think so.
Okay. They should take their time. They need to be very careful about who they hire as their head coach. He needs to be an offensive minded coach, and he needs to bring in a really good offensive coordinator and work with this guy. You can build a defense, you can fix your defense. Okay. You don't want to let Justin Herbert go to waste. This kid's the real deal.
The interesting thing is, I was listening to, I think it was Mina Kimes. She's one of my favorite now. I love listening to her on television because A, she's hilarious, and B, she knows football.
She is funny though. She's funny.
She,
She's very witty.
yes, she is. Yes, she is. Um, and she was saying how much of a gift it is to have a great rookie quarterback because that contract allows you to have so much a talent around them. It's not really a burden yet on the cap, because he's a rookie, so they got that rookie contract deal. It's a little bit less than everybody else, and you can still do some things. Right now, according to the website for the Chargers, they're listing Brandon Staley as head coach. 17th head coach in the franchise, served as defensive coordinator for the Rams.
So he's a defensive coach.
That's what he was.
Okay.
He's the head coach in for the Chargers now, according to their website.
Okay. So I'll be interested to see who their offensive coordinator is. But okay, that's I mean,
Joe Lombardi.
Who? Joe Lombardi?
Lombardi.
I know that name.
I don't know if he's related to the Lombardi, but he's a NFL coaching veteran.
No. He's been around.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been around.
He's been around, no doubt about it.
All right.
Well, with the Saints, at one time. Uh, he oversaw the development of Taysom Hill and Teddy Bridgewater. He
Ah,
completed 69% of his passes
okay.
while under him.
Okay. All right. I like him. Um, I just, I just, I just want to see Justin Herbert develop. Okay. Trust me, when the fantasy season rolls around again, I'll be trying to look to get to Justin Herbert, as a fantasy pick. If not my starting quarterback, at least a backup quarterback on my fantasy team. Because the kid's a winner and he puts up numbers week after week. I he I don't want to go back and look at stats or anything, but seldom did he throw for less than 300 yards per week and multiple touchdowns. Okay. What more can you ask for?
Well, we'll see because he's rated 78 on the Madden.
That'll
He
go up.
he's got which is not bad for a rookie. I
No,
mean,
that'll go up.
that's actually very good for a rookie. Probably he's got a 78 in awareness, which is really good for a rookie. That's usually down in the 60s, you
Dude,
know.
those are rookie numbers, bro. They're going to go up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. I mean,
Those are pre-draft numbers.
hey Benny, this is the funny part about Madden, right? Tyrod Taylor, his awareness rating, I just told you that Herbert's was 78.
Right.
They have Taylor at 68.
Yeah. There you go.
These numbers, I mean, they're like there's no emotion there. Whatever they come up with these numbers, and there's no emotion. That's why I like quoting those numbers. All right, we didn't talk about the defensive rookie of the year yet.
There's not a whole lot to say about this guy.
Go ahead, talk about Chase Young.
Chase Young is the new Aaron Donald.
Oh, he's bigger.
Chase Young is a pass rusher extraordinaire, and he plays the run, and he has a great motor, and he has strength, and he was just a rookie. So he's not going to do anything but get better and better and better. Right now, he's the anchor for that Washington defense that, let's face it, coming down the stretch, bad as the NFC East was, they were picked in the beginning to be dead last, or at least fighting for dead last with the Giants. And it didn't turn out that way. In fact, they played really well coming down the stretch, thanks to Mr. Heineke. And Chase Young was very consistent throughout the entire year. Win, lose, or draw. The kid is a monster. He's almost unblockable. You can't single him up. You got to double him. You gotta play games on the line with him. He's extremely dangerous. And if he gets his mitts on your quarterback, he's going to go down, a hurry, a hit, a sack fumble, a strip. It's going to be something. So yeah, he's well earned. Now I heard some talk about Antoine Winfield, the corner that plays for Tampa Bay. Some people were in his corner. I like the kid, obviously, really good player. Okay, did really well, and started and held his own on a Super Bowl team. But Chase Young is a cut above, man. He's that good. He's that good. We're going to hear his name for a long time.
Well, the Washington football team ranked offensively 25th. Scoring 21.1 points per game. Their defense was ranked 6th overall, giving up 21.2 points per game. So then obviously they were in the negative by 0.1 points. So if they keep that defense going, and if Alex Smith comes back and is actually able to, have some level of success offensively, and then get that offense up off the basement of the NFL scoring wise, they might have something. You might have some competition in your division, sir. That's for sure. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, by the way, another rookie running back, Antoine Gibson, on the Washington football team. Great season.
Okay. All right. Everybody take notes for your fantasy. Antoine Gibson. All right. And last but not least of this particular list, MVP for the season, Mr. Aaron Rodgers. Now, I just think that the whole Aaron Rodgers thing is hilarious because there's all of this conjecture and talk about him not getting enough offensive help, you know, and it probably is why he is the MVP, because offensively they ranked first in the league, numero uno, at 31.5 points per game. Now, where are they here on the, I have to find the Green Bay Packers here defensively. Where are they? Oh, there they go. 15th, 23.2. So
Right.
if he needed some help, seems to me they need it on the defensive end, because Aaron Rodgers is handling business over there on offense. What do you think
Yeah, but
about
that's not ideal. You he got the MVP because he put the offense on his shoulders and he carried them. He carried them. You know, they don't have any really outstanding offensive players except for Aaron Jones, the running back, and Devontae Adams, the wide receiver. Everybody else is, I don't want to use the word mediocre, but there's no more stars on that offense. So anything they do, if they finish first in points for, that's because you can put a little kid out there in the field, and if the kid gets into the end zone, Aaron Rodgers will find him and he'll make the ball stick to his chest. Everything they got offensively, he basically made it happen. So he deserves the MVP.
Well,
I mean,
I would
always
give it.
about Brady doing more with less. This is a guy who did more with less, okay, and without a defense. He just outscored everybody with guys named Lazard, Tunyon, Valdez Scantling, and St. Brown.
I would have given it to him because, as I said earlier in one of our shows, and I'm changing the way I said it because I didn't say exactly like this. He can throw a fall away Hail Mary.
Accurately.
Accurately, much less. Just like a fall away 3-point jump shot, Aaron Rodgers can throw a fall away Hail Mary.
People
Now,
talk about what's
Mahomes?
Mahomes and the different arm angles and all that. Aaron Rodgers can do things that coaches scream at their quarterbacks not to do and be successful. Okay? Throw across his body, throw off his back foot, fading away, like you said, dropping back and just letting it rip. And you're thinking, there's no way that's going to be underthrown. Nah, it gets there. So, yeah, again, you got to give the guy the MVP. To put up the kind of points that he put up with a defense that had as many holes in it as it did, and get them where they got, as far as they got, and knocking on the door. I mean, let's face it. Lots of people thought Tampa Bay was going to go up there and lose. A lot of people thought that. That's the power of Aaron Rodgers. People didn't go, oh, I don't know. I don't think they can stop their run game. And I don't, so-and-so is a beast. And then they got this guy and they got that guy. They're loaded. Nah. People were skeptical because they had Aaron Rodgers. Period.
AR, no doubt about it. When the ball comes out of his hands, there's a laser-like movement of the ball from point A to point B that is amazing. Even though The fadeaway Hail Mary is an amazing throw. I do think he might have been one-upped by the parallel toss that Mahomes made in the Super Bowl that hit his wide receiver right in the face mask. And he was literally in the air parallel. Huh?
You drop it?
Yeah, yeah.
Don't count then.
They dropped a lot of those types of balls that hit. The thing was, in a lot of those passes, if you were to look at next gen stats, their probability for completion, it had to be really low because in most cases the receiver was double, triple, or quadruple covered, but the ball still got there and hit him in the hands. So he is amazing in terms of that, but okay, we're going to leave that alone. All right, next up, and we're going to pretty much close it out with this one. Oh, I do have a couple things that I want to show you Benny, before we go off here. Congrats to Russell Wilson, NFL's Man of the Year for 2020, Seahawks quarterback. Ben, well, you asked the question, so what did he do to get to that? So we found the article here, and again, this is Ben and Barry on football at 93.3, online at, let me make sure I got that right here because I'm calling our signal set, and I'm like, wait a minute, am I getting this right or getting this wrong? I'll get this right in a second and we'll redo it. In any event, we were talking about Russell Wilson. During the 2020 season, amid the COVID-19 pandemic, Wilson directed their efforts toward feeding children, family, and the elderly. Him and wife Sierra donated $1 million to Feeding America, which is the largest hunger relief organization in the country. This is straight from the NFL website. He partnered with Wheels Up to create Meals Up in an effort to combat food insecurity. He has a foundation, Why Not You? He joined with DoorDash, Rockefeller Foundation, and United Way Worldwide to enlarge Ride United, to deliver supplies and food to 175 communities across the country. In addition to that, his endeavors in this unprecedented year included his pleas to end systemic racism, which included Black Lives Matter, Love Russell and Ciara messages on out-of-home billboards and digital message boards. So they were preaching love and Black Lives Matter. They put their money out on boards throughout the United States, and he partnered with I Am a Voter campaign to encourage voter registration. So he had been nominated in 2014. They've been doing it since then. That is pretty amazing.
Yeah, this Walter Payton Man of the Year award is extremely prestigious. These guys talk about the Pro Bowl and this, that, and the other, but when you hear these guys talking about this Man of the Year thing, it's really important to them. And guys that have won it get to wear the patch on their jersey. You may not notice it, but there's a few guys, I'm trying to think, Eli Manning has won it once. They've got that patch on their jersey that resembles the trophy that they get. And it's really, really prestigious. This means a lot to these guys. A lot of these guys give to charities, have foundations, do stuff for their hometowns, the cities that they live in and play for, all kinds of things with children and the elderly and people with disabilities and things like that. It's a big deal to them. These guys don't just say, you know what, I need to write off a portion of this and stick it over there. And they really get into it. So And most of the time, and this is the funny thing, most of the time they don't look for recognition. The NFL has chosen to seek out what these guys are doing and to give an award for it because some of them are so over and above with what they're doing that they feel it needs to be publicized. And I think that the whole, I believe the Walter Payton family has a heck of a lot to do with it. That's why, because they've always had a Man of the Year award, but once it was named for Walter Payton, it became even bigger. So I believe the family has a lot to do with it and a lot of say so as far as the things that they look for in their Man of the Year candidates. So again, you know, like I said, this is a big deal to a lot of NFL players. These guys are really striving to do well in their communities and so forth, and they should be rewarded for it. And the thing is, there's a candidate on every team.
Good point.
So,
I was going to bring that up. I'm glad you're mentioning that.
yes, there's a candidate on every team. So they don't want to overlook anybody. And there probably could be 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 candidates on every team. But because they're trying to give an award, they got to narrow it down. They're being forced to narrow it down. But they make sure that each game, that candidate from that team and that candidate from that team gets talked about. It might only be just a little short talk. You might even not pay attention to it. You might miss it. But during the season, they let it be known what these guys are doing because it's so, so important. So, you know, again, Ben and Barry in football, we like to talk about the good things that are going on out there, especially, you know, with the players. And this is one of the biggest things going as far as what the players do with their time, their money, where their hearts are. You know what I mean? It might be a family thing that affects them. It could be something that they grew up with, whatever it is. Okay. They're out there and they're trying to make a difference. That's important stuff.
Big time stuff. Big time stuff. Thank you. That was good, Benny. Yeah, Benny, I hear you. You know, Man of the Year.
I'm out of scotch.
There you go. If the alcohol's talking and you're talking like that, I ain't mad at you.
Getting emotional now. I'm getting emotional. No, seriously though, that's good stuff.
Little bit of fun. I had to show this video here. Can you see that?
Oh, what are you trying? You trying to make fun of Eli? Oh, what happened? What is that?
Eli trying to ski and film at the same time. So he's taking the film. He's following his kid. I guess that's his kid. But the kid, he gets to it. He does an Eli.
All right, that's enough of that. We can move on from that.
Wait. There's one more, but it's not Eli this time. It's somebody else. All right. So don't get all bent out of shape about your boy Eli. This is what I was telling you. I wanted to show you, and I wanted to get your honest reaction to this. So hold on. Let me see if I can get this done right here. All right. This is on Ben and Barry on Football on our Instagram page. So you see from the championship game, this was from previous. This is when the Kansas City Chiefs beat them, right?
Oh, yeah.
Actual game.
Oh, yeah. Did I not just talk about Antoine Winfield?
Yes, you did.
Yeah. So for all the people out there that were watching the game and going, oh, that's wrong. He ain't had to do that. That's poor sportsmanship. Okay. Talk to all the D-backs in the NFL that played the Chiefs that had Tyreek Hill throw the deuces up on them when he was scoring. Okay. Talk to them. Get their opinion. All right. And this is a rookie. This is a young boy. And he's like, guess what, dog? He didn't have to say anything. All he had to look, his mouth ain't moving. He had to say nothing. He just went, dog. Yeah.
Put those two fingers up there, deuce.
Deuces.
Football is so much fun, I tell you. You gotta love it. You gotta love it, man. You know what goes around comes around, and that's why football is life. That's our hashtag. Football is life. It's too much fun. All right, Benny. That's all I got, man.
I got something.
You got something?
I got something.
Okay.
Doggone it. I hate the Houston Texans. I can't stand the Houston Texans. They just messing up and messing up and messing up. First they trade Nuke, okay? Then they expect Deshaun Watson to still be as good as he was without his number one receiver. Not only his number one receiver, but one of the top 3 to 5 receivers in the league. We just gonna send him off somewhere and bring in some broke down running back in his place. Okay.
Who let me just say, may have had the play of the year.
Who, Nuke?
Yeah.
But we're not talking about Nuke. You took Nuke away from him.
I know. I'm saying the guy you took away had the play of the year.
And the guy led the league in something, either yardage or the guy had a tremendous year. They couldn't win no games, but statistically, Deshaun Watson was magnificent this year. Talk about doing the most with the least, okay? This guy, and then after Will Fuller develops into a number one receiver, he gets busted for steroids or something. He goes out. Deshaun is still throwing up yardage and touchdowns. Unbelievable. This guy has bared his soul for his team. And this stinking J.J. Watt goes to the management and says, you know what, y'all? I don't want to play no more. Y'all might as well just release me. Let me just go play somewhere else, man. I want to go to a contender or something like that. And they go, okay, JJ, we appreciate what you've done for us. We're going to let you go. Meanwhile, Deshaun is banging on the door, screaming and yelling, you guys keep sticking it to me and sticking it to me and sticking it to me, and I can't take it no more. Let me go, trade me, release me, cut me. I don't care what you do, but I want out of here. And they're like, nah. I can't stand the Houston Texans.
All right. Tell us how you really feel there about the Houston Texans, Mr. Dickerson. Jamie Christmas. And it's funny, the guy that wants to be traded has a no trade clause in his contract.
That's okay. All you gotta do is sign off on it.
I tell you. One of the few guys that if my Niners said to me, look, I think we're gonna move Garoppolo and bring in Deshaun, I would not be mad at him as much. I think Garoppolo can still win a Super Bowl. I'm one of those guys. I'm a Garoppolo guy. He runs that offense, and that's really the question: can you run the offense? And with Deshaun, there's no question in my mind that he could run it. Plus, he could do a few extra Deshaun type of things that Garoppolo is not going to be able to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Trust me, bro, there's a bunch of teams out there right now saying, you know what? We ain't really going to try to get him because we don't really have what it would take to get him. But doggone it, if somehow, some way we could get him, we definitely would. Right now, they're talking real hard about Carolina.
Yeah. Can you imagine what they're talking about? Tell people what they're talking about.
3 first-round picks and Christian McCaffrey.
C-Mac. You gonna put C-Mac? You giving up C-Mac and 3 number ones? No.
Here's the crazy thing. Here's the crazy thing. And I hadn't given this a whole lot of thought because I'm thinking as we get closer to the time where this thing's got to come into fruition or it's not going to happen, somebody else is going to throw a bid out there. And I listened to, what was I listening to? First Take, okay? And it was brought to my attention that the Miami Dolphins, if they wanted to, could make a better pitch just by virtue of the fact that their first round picks are higher picks than Carolina's. Now, I don't know the exact numbers, but let's just say, for instance, Carolina's first round pick this year was number 9 overall. Miami's is like number 6. You see what I'm saying? They could make the same pitch and they could trade Tua if they wanted to. I don't know if they want to. If it was me, I'd do it. Because I think Miami is closer than they expect it to being a real bona fide contender. They may not believe that. They may want to stick with Tua and ride it out with Tua and continue their development. I believe if they do that, I think they'll be okay. But if they got Deshaun, wow. Hey,
Deshaun on Miami is a scary prospect. I mean, we already talked about how well he did on defense, talked about the coach, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
But when you're talking about C-Mac versus Tua, it's like,
I get that.
It's like gold versus silver to me.
I get that. But if they make the move with Carolina, now they have to draft a quarterback and kind of start from scratch. That's not good for Christian McCaffrey, okay? And I would think that if Deshaun wanted to play for the Panthers, he would want to play with McCaffrey, not without him.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of things going on. Right. There's a lot of things going on here, see? So, you know.
All right. But you hate the Houston Texans.
I hate the Houston Texans.
I bought my wife gold dip roses from I Hate Steven Singer in Philadelphia. So the hate can be good and the hate.
I don't want to use the R word, man. I really don't. I don't.
Okay. All right. That being said, what else you got?
Dak Prescott, $31.4 million this year. They tag him again. He makes 37.7. From what I heard, they ain't got the money. They offered him 5 years of 175. That's $35 million a year. They ain't got that either. Dallas is in trouble. They have mismanaged this whole Dak Prescott thing to the hilt. They're jacked up. They tag him again. It's going to cost them 37.7. Remember last year, I said the best thing for Dak to do is to bet on himself and take the tag, take 2 tags, do the Kirk Cousins, and he'll come out all right at the end. And sure enough, even with the injury, this is working out for him. And guess what? They don't have to tag him. They can trade him if they want to. I'm sure Dak could be like, deuces, I'm out.
The Cowboys, according to overthecap.com, have $18,335,193 of cap space available.
Right. So if they tag him, they got to pay him $37.7 million. So that means heads will roll. Heads will roll if they want to pay him and keep him. And he's
great example and contrast to what we talked about with Justin Herbert, where we were saying how valuable it is to have such a talented rookie on a rookie contract.
Exactly.
As opposed to paying top dollar, make you holler.
Exactly. Once they put him on that first tag, the one he just played under, which was 31.4 mil, they should have worked their behinds off to get him a long-term contract, but they didn't. And Jerry Jones is a goofball. He gonna play hardball over 1 year. Dak wants to sign for 4. He wants to sign him for 5. This is some bull, man. And people can say, oh, Dak, that's signed for 5. What's the difference? No, he has a plan. It's his career. He has a plan. So if Jerry Jones has a plan for this team, and it includes Dak possibly getting them to a Super Bowl, which is supposed to be his goal, okay? You got to get that job. You got to get that done, because now you done backed yourself up. This 175 for 5 years, that was the latest offer. Okay, this is not an old offer, I don't think. This is a relatively new offer. So they still haven't learned their lesson. He's not going to sign a 5-year deal for $35 million a year when he can make 37.7 for 1 year and be a free agent. Who would do that? Would you do that?
Well, okay. So there's so much. They paid their running backs. They paid their wide receivers. They did a whole bunch of that stuff. They only got 18 mil of cap space. They got a $37 million problem coming down the highway.
And he ain't the only one. They got to pay some other people too.
Now with the snow, they have no electricity.
Oh, those
FIFAs.
Oh Lord!
And you should be loving it as a division rival.
That kind of stuff doesn't stir me. That only stirs Eagles fans.
All right.
That doesn't stir me.
Well, I only have one rant, and it's a real short one, and you've already heard it, but I'm putting it out there because I still am most distressed and frustrated by the amount of quitting online in Madden.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, man, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous. I told you about the last one. Let me just quickly this is what I'm talking about, Lee. I don't play online because I'm too busy. And I don't want to be quitting in the middle of a game because somebody gave me a phone call and I got to handle some business. I normally just play the computer, right? Every once in a while I get to go online and I get all juiced up for the competition with real live people. So I go online. I got the new PlayStation 5. I'm ready. I'm ready for combat. I've been practicing and everything. I get online. There's nobody available to play.
You're going to the wrong places, bro.
No, there's no. Where do you go? You go on PlayStation and you go to where they say go for one-on-one matchups, and there's nobody available. So I go back a little while later. There's like 11 people available. I guess the PlayStation 5 was hard to come by. I don't know. One guy I get matched up with, I got a game. Who was he playing with? I think he was playing with Tampa Bay. I'm not quite sure, right? I kick the ball off to him. He runs the ball out to the 17. I tackle him, okay? First play of the game, he drops back. I'm not even sure what defense I was running, but next thing I know, my end is chasing his quarterback into the end zone and tackles him for a safety. He quits. That was it.
That's pathetic.
Offensively, he's out.
That's pathetic.
One play.
What you have to do is you have to find people that you know that play, that if they quit, you can shame them. Okay. And then they won't quit. Okay. And you gotta play them. I see the young boys go on the football page and they just say, this is my thing right here. Who wants to play? And people jump on and they call each other and they set up times and they play.
Well, you got a team there because you're coach of a team. So the team has a page, they get all together, and I'm sure that can work.
Well, they go on the league page. They go on the whole league page.
The whole league. Okay, well,
So what you got to do is you have to solicit.
Well, I threw it
Yes.
out last week. I threw the name out. Nothing came back. But long story short, again, this is just something. I mean, you get a few minutes. You know what I mean? It's like, ooh. And it's not like I haven't done it. It's not generally there's not a problem with people to play that is that extreme that there's nobody. However, you're absolutely right. Playing against the guys that I know, they're not going to quit. Trying to catch up with a few of the people, but a lot of them aren't on the new platform yet. They're still on the PS4, and so that's kind of what the deal is. My PS4, I'm gonna take it upstairs and put it someplace else. It's just the quitting. It's like, really, first play of the game. There's still 4 quarters left, and you're quitting already. I just find it absolutely mind-boggling that is the mindset that's out there in the gaming world right now. So, okay, that's enough of that.
To me, somebody that would do that, you probably didn't want to play them anyway. If they're willing to do that, then they weren't worthy competition.
Quite possibly. Okay.
They're just out there.
Well, then there's a lot of them. Like, people are quitting on me all the time.
That's good.
It's not like this is the first time. This happens all the time. So, all right.
There's a lot of people out there that really
quitting friends. All right, Mr. Dickinson, that's it for me.
Right.
What you got?
All I got is go Knowles.